My dear viewers that went to boarding schools, did you ever hear of Bush Baby or did you come across one? As for me, I just heard stories and never came across one. Let's hear the story of this beautiful girl and her experience with Bush Baby. Ada had just gotten into a boarding school when she started hearing stories about the Bush Baby, but she never took them seriously. Everyone said the Bush Baby was a small creature that carried a mat and a lamp, crying in the middle of the night. They said it haunted students who stayed in the hostel, but Ada thought it was just a mite to scare them. Ada's school was surrounded by thick bushes. Nights were always quiet with only the sound of crickets and the occasional hoot of an owl. The hostels were old, and the wind sometimes made strange noises that made the building groan, but they were used to it. One night after prep, Ada was too tired to finish her assignments, so she decided to sleep early. It was around midnight when she woke up suddenly. The room was unusually cold and the air felt heavy. Ada tried to go back to sleep, but she heard something. Someone crying softly outside the window. Ada froze. At first, she thought it was one of the junior students playing a prank, but the crying didn't stop. It got louder and clearer, as if the person was coming closer. Ada couldn't move. Her heart was racing, and she could feel the hairs on her neck stand up. The crying sounded like a baby, but there was something strange about it. It sounded too unnatural. Then she remembered the stories she was told. The bush baby! She wanted to scream for help, but her voice wouldn't come out. She lay there stiff as a board, listening. The crying was right outside the window now, just a few meters away. She could hear the rustling of leaves like someone was walking through the bushes. And then she saw it, a dim light flickering through the window. Ada didn't want to look, but she couldn't help herself. Slowly, she turned her head towards the window. The light was moving, bobbing up and down, as if someone was carrying it. And then she saw the figure. It was small, like a child, but it was hunched over, carrying something that looked like a rolled up mat. It was the bush baby. Ada squeezed her eyes shut, praying it wouldn't see her. The crying stopped and everything went silent. Ada didn't dare move. She stayed like that for what felt like hours, waiting for it to leave. Finally, she heard footsteps moving away from the window, and the air in the room became lighter. Ada didn't remember falling asleep again, but when she woke up in the morning, the sun was shining and everything seemed normal. She told her friends what happened, but some of them didn't believe her. They said it was just her imagination, that maybe she had been dreaming, but she knew what she saw. That day, a few other students came forward with their own stories. Some said they had heard the crying before. Others claimed to have seen the light, but no one ever talked about it too loudly. It became one of those things that everyone knew but no one wanted to admit. From that night on, Ada never doubted the stories about the bush baby again, and every time she heard the wind rustling through the bushes or a faint cry in the distance, Ada made sure to stay in her bed, silent and still, hoping it wouldn't come back. After that night, everything changed for Ada. She couldn't walk around the school grounds after dark without feeling watched. The path from the hostel to the dining hall felt longer, and every shadow seemed to move. Ada's friends acted like nothing had happened, but deep down she could see they were scared too. A week after her encounter with the bush baby, something happened that made all of them believe. It was during prep. Around 8 p.m., the classroom was quiet. Everyone focused on their books. Suddenly, they heard a loud scream from one of the junior students. It echoed through the hallways, and soon after, more screams followed. They all rushed outside trying to figure out what was going on. A group of juniors had gathered outside their hostel, shaking in fear. One of them, a boy named Tunde, was crying uncontrollably. When the seniors managed to calm him down, he then told them what had happened. He said that while he was lying in bed, he heard the soft sound of a baby crying, just like Ada had heard at first. He thought it was one of the girls playing a joke on him, so he ignored it. But the crying grew louder, and then he saw the light flickering just outside his window. Tunde said he tried to shout, but his voice got stuck in his throat. The next thing he knew, the door to his room slowly creaked open, even though no one else was there. That was when he ran out of the hostel screaming. The older students tried to calm everyone down, telling them it was just their minds playing tricks. But Tunde's terror was real. Ada knew that feeling all too well, and as Ada looked around, she could see it in everyone's eyes. No one felt safe anymore. From then on, they avoided staying up late in the hostels. Students made sure they were in groups, especially after dark. Some seniors laughed it off, but even they became more cautious. They all knew the bush baby was real and it was out there watching. One night, a few brave seniors decided to do something about it. They called it a night watch. They planned to stay awake through the night waiting for the bush baby to appear so they could confront it or catch it. They even brought flashlights, brooms, and sticks, convinced they could chase it away. Ada didn't join them. She didn't want to see it again. But that night, as she lay in bed, she couldn't sleep. Every creak of the building made her heart race. The room was thick with tension. Around midnight, the sound of distant footsteps reached ears. Ada's eyes shut open. She could hear them, soft, careful steps approaching the hostel. The bush baby was back. Suddenly, one of the seniors in the night watch group started shouting, "It's here! It's here!" The next thing Ada knew, all the lights in the hostel flickered and the air became thick and cold. Just like that first night, the seniors ran through the halls, screaming for the others to wake up. Some claimed they saw the light again, while others said they heard the crying. Ada stayed under her blanket, shaking and praying it would pass. In the morning, the seniors were pale and quiet. They didn't talk about what they saw, but Ada could tell they had been shaken. From that day on, the night watch stopped. No one wanted to face the bush baby again. The stories about the bush baby faded into whispers, but the fear never left. Every new student who joined the hostel heard about it. Some believed while others didn't. But one thing Ada said was, once someone had an encounter with the bush baby, they would never forget it. Years went by, but the memory of the bush baby still stayed with her. Ada graduated and left the boarding school, but even as she moved on with her life, there were always a lingering thought at the back of her mind. Sometimes, late at night, she would hear a faint crying sound in the distance, and it would take her back to those nights in the hostel. What a story. As for me, my dear viewers, I don't know what the bush baby truly is. A spirit, a ghost, or maybe it's just a trick of the mind. All I know is they said it's out there, somewhere in the dark, carrying its mat and lamp, looking for something or maybe someone. So please, if you've come across the bush baby or you have any story for us regarding it, kindly share in the comments section, and please don't also forget to hit the subscribe button and also like our video. Thank you.